Good afternoon, Abbotsford residents. I'm Mr. Pelican. I'm running for your Commander-in-Chief. I'm going to put the years of experience that I learned from Wall Financial and above all Mike Dakota and big companies to work for Abbotsford residents. The first #1 thing we're going to do is knock the hell out of the Abbotsford police. The men and women that have worked there under my mayorship, they're gone. They'll never see law enforcement again for the organized criminal ring that they set up to defend Henry Braun and what was taking place. I want to say this before I begin any further. Abbotsford residents and myself, from our heart, owe the RCMP a mission a tremendous thanks. With their belief getting behind us to stand up, I could show the legal ring of criminal enterprise that was set up under the Abbotsford police, under this man, Mike Sir, that was running it for Henry Braun. He believed that company, that shield, and the crap that they could pull using that police department would cover up the attacks on Abbotsford residents, loading elections, and above all these jobs that Henry was lobbying. Mike Sir also covered up Henry's attempted murder in broad daylight in his Alexis car, and the attacks on the South Asian mogul and everything else. Under my mayorship, I am going to knock the Abbotsford police so far back that them men will wish that they never ever covered that criminal ring. We're going to get the best for Abbotsford, the RCMP. I showed you Rob San Diego's Archway Community Services, his wife on Community Tash, and how he boarded them on. Today I learned from Abbotsford City, Rob San Diego's wife has resigned. She's quit from Community Tash because of the conflict of interest in what they did. They got caught. This is why we need the RCMP. Rob San Diego is Archway Community Services that Henry was lobbying, and Henry had Pam behind him. It's well documented when Henry went to embarrass Justin Trudeau for that money. But what Henry didn't do was call David EBY in the ground, because EBY would have stopped all the money that backfeeds Henry's players, Rob San Diego and everything. But Henry couldn't do that. He only attacked Trudeau, if you go look at that. Henry then had to set up Ross Siemens and counsel that he needed to ward jobs. Darren Brown showed counsel in Henry's house. He also showed Pacific Peaks Homes, Ed Fast's son-in-law, Devin Roy, and how they were tied to Diverse. Darren Brown showed the Sage property of Ram Funk, a diversity illegal changing from 200 to 455, and the pipeline that needed to go here. So why I'm on Gladys Avenue. This morning I showed you all the trucks leaving this job site with no flaggers, no covers, no tarps, gravel in the ditches, everything. What developers get fined. And these jobs ain't going to tendering. They're cash jobs being rewarded, and my friends are friends. The city people that run the city do not even check each other. Nobody knows what to do. Oh, maybe we'll call Henry. Henry, what are we doing, Henry? And then they're checking. It was an inner group. That is why we need to gut it. That is why when bylaw's called out, bylaw doesn't care whose friend is friends, Henry's friends, Ross' friends, you're going to be given a fine. The Abbotsford police, it's their sworn duty today, and they wouldn't do it. Oh, I'm getting ready for the Irish show. Colin Watts maybe going to have Mike Sher on his lap. Come on, Mikey, sit here. Maybe bring some RCMP in, and let's pull together and show we can save this dirty company. This is going to be a family multi-dwelling. We didn't have Ross Siemens announcing it. We didn't have Dave Lowens and Dave Sadu announcing it. We're going to lay low. We didn't have anybody. We didn't even have Ross Siemens in the newspaper saying Happy BC Day. Oh, Ross can barely stand up. This is why Greg Toast said, Mr. Pelican, we're going to run Ross. And in 4 years, we'll help you win the election, but we really need Ross. It was the RCMP that knew they were loading Ross Siemens for Henry Braun and all these jobs. How high up the political ring it went? It was the federal conservatives, Pierre Poilievre and Clark Freightways, pretty much guaranteed that Ed Fast was in over his head. And when I showed him Devin Roy and what was taking place, it explained why Ed Fast never called Rob Funk out. Poor Ronnie Funk, I need all these illegal jobs. Abbotsford homeowners had been backlogged for years and years while Henry was running his special projects with Dave Lowens and Abbotsford First councils over Abbotsford residents and strapping their permits for his friends and his shit, which is organized crime. Why are I here? Is it not true that Rob San Diego I showed you his wife on community task. She resigned now. I quit because I got caught. Mr. Pelican flooded me out. Mr. Pelican would have sent the RCMP in to arrest you because you're not allowed to be doing that and loading boards with Ross San Diego. Henry knows that Pam backs Rob San Diego everywhere, so Pam's tied to David Eby and we can push. Rob San Diego raised the money in the name of the farmers and then kept it and went and bought real estate. Allowed the homeless to be attacked on all these rocks. Allowed the tree of hope to be cut down and everything. Rob San Diego is hoping to get this. I'm going to change this picture for David Eby. I got a problem. My BC Conservatives are not standing up. We need these offices to stay split. I'm running for your mayor. I don't want to see provinces and David Eby pumping money into these things that the homeless are being, oh, we need these shelters, but it's backfeeding. Rob San Diego owns Archway Community Services and thousands of millions of dollars of real estate. Why do we take this and build it here? Why do we take it? Why didn't we build it on Captain Crotch? Why didn't we build it on Dave Sadu, Andy Sadu's property by King Haven? They're pulling out of the ag land. Why? Why did we build it? Ron Funk needs the pipeline. This is what Henry did at the bus terminal with his son, Darren Braun showed me. My dad's lobbying that bus to be moved off of Riverside over here because we know we could extend Riverside. That way the pipes and the services come and my dad will get it. We need to call this out. We need the BC Conservatives, Corky Neufeld, to stand here and say David Eby needs to shut this down. It's another one. Is it another one of his ferries or what's going on? Mismanaged construction companies, all this. So the city councillors, Dave Lowens, who tweets everything. I got to tweet it out. I'm the mayor. Didn't even stand here because he didn't want to bring a light to it. We need to put a stop to it. We need to say, shut this bloody project down, David Eby. Shut it down now. Cancel it and say, Rob San Diego, don't you have the red line and all this shit that Henry and Ross Siemens and them councils that were collaborating, owning, and you go and scam this piece of property? Why? Why didn't you stand up, Rob San Diego, and say, come in here, build? Under my mayorship, Rob San Diego will be gone. That real estate that needs to be put for the homeless and shelters and affordable housing will be taken from Rob San Diego and it'll be given. But the first thing we're going to do to Abbotsford residents is we're going to get the best. So organized criminal ring doesn't survive. We're going to bring the RCMP in. It was Mike Sir that covered Henry's hit and run, that allowed his officers threaten and allowed the vicious acts. Why do I stand so fervent about the Abbotsford police being removed? Let me tell you why, ladies and gentlemen. It's their sworn duty, them assholes. It's their sworn duty to come to our houses and take statements. Me and my investigators at night and my support team that's hanging in Tim Hortons on their coffee break using our vehicles, picking up escort girls. Maybe they should use that support van for them escort girls they had their way with. It's their duty to take them statements, and they failed. You know why? We'll deliberately block it, and we won't go up there and investigate. We can save Henry, Ed, Mike, and Ross Siemens. That is organized crime. That is why the day one, when I went to Bill Vanderzem and asked everybody in the Mission RCB to come in, I was going down the throats of Abbotsford police officers. I don't care what they think they are. I'm a drug investigator. I'm going after fentanyl, gangs of fentanyl. We need to shut down the Abbotsford police, and we need to make sure that avenue of the Abbotsford police going, other gang members, if you're in the RCMP, let's join together. That's what gangs do when they're in trouble. They start pulling on each other. The Abbotsford police did this. The top management did this, and the guys in the bottom were adamant that Mike Sure was covering for Henry Brown, and the upper investigators that were threatening in the task force that was stalking me and threatening me was a Mission RCMP, said Mr. Pelican. Them filthy man, we need it all documented, video filmed, and logged. To the Abbotsford police, I want to make sure that I stand on the world stage and show that these uniforms were being used for one of the largest rings of criminal enterprise in our Fraser Valley. And they were buying leniency under these little badges and little shithole things they could do. We need a total change. If I thought that the Abbotsford police was savable, I would argue that point. It's not. They got to be gone. We need the RCMP in, and then we'll see where we can build this again. To Rob San Diego, do you not think that David Eby should have an apology? Ain't it Simon Gibson that went out and said Pierre Poilievre should apologize to Mike de Jong? I think the Abbotsford Council And Ross Seaman should be apologizing to David Eby because he's going to be boot screwed against the wall by the BC Conservatives seeing this, knowing that this is happening. So I think that old Dave Lowens should say, Dave Lowens with Ross, we're going to apologize. Why are you doing it? I told you what Darren Braun showed me. They need that pipeline to pass this homeless. They need these homeless out of here for Ron Funk. They load millions of dollars of rocks in here on taxpayers. They fraud Abbotsford. And Henry's picture was easy for me to find through Darren Braun, Vicky Hopes, MLAs and MPs. And this is why you could see the distance in Abbotsford newspapers. You could see it everywhere. We need to make sure that David Eby is aware of this and this shit gets shut down and this mismanaged company is put out of business. We need to go after Rob Santiago of Archway, and we need to make sure that there is where the holding sources are going to be gone, and that's where they're going to be set up. They were setting up a multi-trillion-dollar enterprise, like Pierre Polly had said. These people are making millions of dollars off the unfortunate people and the homeless. And these enterprises need to be busted, and a guy like Rob Santiago, he lays in bed with Pam, the city Abbotsford Chamber calling Mission Chamber and Mission calling Abbotsford out. So Abbotsford's Chamber lights it up and says, you know, everything Rob Santiago does, you know why he doesn't get stopped by the NDP? Because Pam's behind him. Pam thinks the ground that he works on in this. Pam's in Mission. This is Abbotsford. I'm going to fight for Abbotsford. But I'm going to get the best so this stuff stops. And we're going to go after them things that I told Henry when I was running for mayor. Forensic audits that opens everybody up, and I get all that money back to Abbotsford taxpayers. But we're going to shit-kick that Abbotsford police like it's never been shit-kicked for the organized crime. That is why I stand on the world stage, covering that attempted murder and allowing Henry in that car to end my life, halt investigations, and then threatening the elections, blocking the newspaper. This police force figures that uniform's going to save you. The question to Abbotsford residents, and to my world YouTube people, and to politicians, if Henry did this with the Abbotsford police, like this, which is proven now, and it's documented and well documented, and covered it, the question is, you know, none of them can be trusted because what else have they done? What else rich people's paid for? What else scam have they done? When the RCMP Mission knew that right now that's supposed to be before the city auditorium and the city council, and he saw Henry and the council working together and Nancy Friesen blocking it, it was foregone conclusion that the RCMP of Mission, the men and women that knew there, said these son of a bitches are all in bed together. So ladies and gentlemen, please come down tomorrow, get on our BC Conservatives and start kicking them and saying, no, Bruce, Corky, we need to make sure that this is called out and David Eby stops this money in and seizes Archway or goes down and takes Rob Funk to David Eby. Rob Funk's property is illegal, 100% illegal, and it was criminally done. Henry and his son were running it. They had no zoning permit. They changed the zoning. They changed everything else. We should seize that. It's already half built, and we'll give it to the homeless, and that's where we'll put the units, and we'll put this back as a gravel pit. I'm live here. Abbotsford, British Columbia.